financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is estate planning is not only for the wealthy. And on that note, good morning, Brian Small.
Good morning, Ken. A pleasure to be here this morning. It's
Good
going to be
morning,
a great
Jeffrey
day.
Linder.
Good morning, Ken.
I had this plan as I was driving in this morning, that when I did the introductions, I was going to do everything I could to say good morning to Brian and just see if I could get him to just say good morning back without an additional statement.
Not a chance on God's green earth.
And I could see it wasn't happening, so I just had to cut you off. Good morning, Jeffrey Linden.
Good morning again.
Good morning, Jim Simasco.
Good morning. It's a great day.
Okay, all right. So, why is a plan needed for the everyday Joe? Why is it that estate planning is not only for the wealthy?
Because the everyday Joe is going to die at some point in time, and there's a strong probability that he may need help with either medical decisions or financial decisions as he ages, or if he gets injured. So these documents are crucial. In fact, when my kids turn 18, I have them sign a lot of these documents just in case something bad happens.
Did the
Like
same
the
thing.
Power,
When my daughter
Healthcare Power.
turned 18, I said, happy birthday, here's your cake, here's
Right.
your present, sign
Yeah.
here, sign here, sign here, and sign here. Because
Absolutely.
what people don't recognize is that your 18-year-old is an adult, and you cannot make decisions as a parent anymore on behalf of your adult. You can't get medical records. Example, my wife tried to get records from her son's pediatrician to transfer to the new doctor that he was going to see, and they said, he's got to do it. And she said, why? I've been talking to you for years and years. And they said, because he's 18. And so I did up a power of attorney for him and a medical power of attorney for him. He signed everything because he wasn't going to go do it.
Yeah, no,
Not at 18 he wasn't.
It's the fall. I've had probably 5-6 clients just in the last month as the kids were leaving for college call up. I think probably a lot of them from watching the show called up and said, do I need to do a power of attorney and healthcare power for my kid leaving for college?
Yes.
And they were saying I need to do it because they already knew the answer is, can you get it done before they leave? I said, yeah, sure. Just it's a pretty. Those two documents are pretty easy to do in quick order, but they're essential. And the parents were being smart because they knew the kids going off to Lansing, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo, and so forth, and they wanted to have their ducks in order.
Let me give you an example of what I see
That's
a
one
lot.
example,
Yeah, let me
right?
give you an example of what I see a lot and we're not talking about wealthy people. We're talking about the average American, right? They come in and they say, why do I need all this stuff? I just put my kid on the deed to my house. Okay, and it's now says they want to create a deed, joint tenancy with full rights of survivorship. Okay, well, let me tell you.
So that's a great idea. So that way, when dad dies, child then owns the property, right?
100% correct.
So isn't that a good thing?
No.
No. There's so many bad things
That was a
about it.
loaded question,
Yeah.
in case
All right,
you're right. Yeah.
start with, what happens if dad wants to sell the house?
Oh, he just calls up kid and says, sign off on the deed.
What if
Yeah, and the
dad
kid
and
says,
son
"Have
had
my
a
name on
falling
the
out?
Check.
Yep, dad and son had a falling out.
Are you suggesting that could happen?
It happens all the time. I have a client who owned a property up north where he lived. It was too big for him. He wanted to sell it. He had his son and daughter on there, joint tenants with full rights of survivorship, because it was done for estate planning purposes. And you know what? He had a falling out with the son, and the son said, sure, I'll sign off, write me a check.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question or a statistical question. Do you think there's a higher probability of a falling out between a parent and a child or between two siblings?
Oh, well, two siblings. I'll tell you
siblings.
something. The siblings, the minute mom and dad are dead, if there was any sort of animosity between them, it just gets bigger and bigger because
I
now
think-
they're just fighting about
Problems
money.
from 30 years ago, 50 years ago.
I think on siblings, the probability of there not being a problem is less than the probability.
But wait, there's another
no
reason
problem.
why. Okay, so now you inherit the house.
So what
because of
happens
the,
with dad and son when son refuses to sign
the
off on
house
deed?
can't be
The house
sold.
can't be sold.
Right, but then you have the issue of bankruptcy, the son going bankrupt, that's his asset. You have the issue of a divorce. If the son gets divorced, his
wife's-
spouse
the
is going
spouse
to
is
say, boy, I
gonna
want
claim.
my quarter.
And you have a tax issue.
Stuff on basis.
Because when son
Yeah.
inherits the house, he already owned half of it. So now he doesn't get stepped up basis
On half the house.
on half
On
the
half the
house.
house, right.
And at the end of the day, we call it. It used to be called the poor man's will. The way people will do stuff like that. I just put my kid on. It's the wrong thing to do.
It's not only it's not the poor man's will, it's not the convenient will, it's the ignorant, absolute worst possible thing you can do. There's no reason to do that, and we've just named at least
Six
seven reasons that are disastrous.
I mean, you can accomplish the same thing from a simple standpoint by doing a ladybird deed as part of an estate plan, which is going to protect the house, and the owner of the house allows for Medicaid planning down the road.
But there's a problem here. There's a problem here. A lot of people that are watching this show don't know who Lady Bird Johnson really was and have no idea what you're talking about when you say doing a Lady Bird deed.
It's a deed where you put a beneficiary on, where you could always change your mind before death, and it passes automatically to the recipient when you die. It's perfect.
But you
Now we know what it is. Why is it called a Lady Bird deed?
Wait, you maintain full control over the
Asset.
property as the owner by doing a ladybird deed. So if you feel like selling it, taking out a mortgage, painting it purple, doing whatever
Do
you
whatever
want
you
with
want.
it, it's your house.
The
and nobody-
beneficiaries have no
That's
rights
right.
until
Beneficiaries have no
you
interest.
die, and if you haven't revoked it. So
And
why
there's-
do they call it a Lady Bird deed? Anyone know?
The story goes that Lady Bird Johnson, Lyndon Johnson's wife, transferred her assets, her real estate that way upon her death. And the name kind of stuck.
Nice.
Whether it's true or not, I'm not sure.
Nice.
It's a good story.
We'll take a break. We'll come back and talk more.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
For almost 60 years, Samasco Law has been the trusted source for helping families navigate the uncertain world of estate planning and elder law. And now, our firm is growing even stronger with the addition of attorneys Joe Frazard and Kelsey Samasco. 2 more lawyers to make sure your family is protected now and into the future. Call Samasco Law today for a free consultation. Our hardworking team is standing by to provide you peace of mind. Samasco Law, Protect what matters.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. So, ladybird deeds are one solution. The point here, I think, in the first segment is there's reasons for an estate plan for durable power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney. This applies, we were talking about the kids turning 18. It also applies to mom and dad. Like my example that I like to use, when my dad was elderly, I had his durable power of attorney, so I could go and do his banking for him if he needed it. And more often than not, every month I had to use it, because every month Comcast would charge him for Cinemax on his cable bill, and he didn't even know what Cinemax was, and I would then have to call Comcast to have the bill credited, and because I had my power of attorney on file with them, they could then credit the bill and they would talk to me. I always wanted to bring a lawsuit saying, why are you charging people that are 85 years old for Cinemax when they don't even know what it is? But it was too big. Because I had not at that point implemented the 3-point retirement plan, and I was just working to try and stay afloat and doing everything I could to make income, I had no disposable time to pursue the class action lawsuit against them, which would have resulted in an early retirement for me and a recovery of millions of dollars for victims of this action.
The future is now.
The future is now.
The
Wait,
future
there
is
was
now.
another show. You know,
But I don't know if that's still happening because my
Well,
dad's
now
gone.
it's HBO. Or no, now it's Max. What did they change
Yeah,
the name
it
to?
could.
no, it's HBO Max.
No, I think it's
It's
going
now back to HBO
back
Max.
now. Okay, so
So-
what are the estate plan? What about the trust? What about the will? We've only talked about power of attorney.
Sure. Well, first off, the ladybird deed, the flaw with that is if the beneficiary, your beneficiary on the ladybird deed dies first, and then you have a problem. That's why a trust is a more usable document. A trust is a legal entity that holds title to your assets, and then upon your death, it gets distributed in accordance with whatever instructions you give to the
How is
person
that
in charge.
different than a will?
The will has to go through probate court, where the court gives you letters of authority that allow you to retitle assets into your beneficiary's name. The trust holds title to the assets, either currently or upon your death, and then a new trustee takes over, who's in charge of your assets, who's obligated to distribute it to the beneficiaries in accordance with your
So you don't have
specific
to,
instructions.
that way you don't have to go through the whole probate process.
Correct.
Right.
It's awesome.
It's more efficient. It's also private because court proceedings can be public. If people care, they can poke around in your business.
You
I'll
can
give
do
you,
it.
I'll give you another one, though. Let's get back to the children and the grandchildren. A lot of people want to leave, regardless of how wealthy they are, they want to leave something to their grandchildren. Okay? How old are grandchildren generally? They're
usually young
right?
until they get
So-
older.
Until they
right.
get 25.
Right, but what
Yeah,
happens?
it's really a function of how old you
Right,
are.
but let's say
Right.
you're leaving $50,000 to your grandchild, okay? And your grandchild is currently 4. And you die and your grandchild is now 5. They're not getting the money, but when are they getting it? At age 18. How long is that money going to last?
At 18.
18.
Oh, you think it lasts till 19?
It all depends
I
how
think it's
much-
gone
it
within 6 months.
It depends on how much a Corvette is at that time.
Corvette syndrome,
Right.
right. What color Corvette are they going to buy?
With the trust, you can control the assets from the grave. You can say, kids don't get it till they're 25 or 30. They only get it for health, welfare, education.
I have a question.
Plus,
Sure.
That would be attractive to me if when I'm in the grave, do I have the ability to not only control it, but can I change the rules at that point in time?
That would be a trick.
No.
But I will tell you
No,
that, like
25's not the right age. We're going to make it 30.
so quite often what I do for somebody like that, we'll make the money available for the use of the 18-year-old for college education, room and board, health
All
insurance.
the right reasons.
And then at age 25, we'll give them a third.
Who do you make the trustee?
So usually it's
Their parent? Who's mad that you left the money to the grandchildren and didn't leave it to them?
not necessarily. They're not necessarily mad, but the parent, an uncle, an aunt, trying to keep it always somebody younger than the person who is who's leaving the money, because you want to make sure that person exists.
I get that problem so often. They're like, well, I'll have my brother or somebody do this. I'm like, okay.
How old's your-
older
And the
than
brother's
them.
older. So when you're
97.
75, 87, 92 years old with
brother's
dementia,
2 years younger.
and your
Yeah.
brother is right there in the mental institution with you, what decisions is he going to be making for your kids or your grandkids? He's like, oh.
I mean,
You're right.
understand there is an
problem.
opportunity, if necessary, to allow for a corporate trustee. It is expensive.
Incredibly
You can't
expensive.
really do it anyway. Nowadays, you can't really find a corporate trustee unless they're going to be managing at least $1 million. Most people
And
do.
you,
It's
and
higher
you don't,
than that,
you don't want
yeah.
to pay them. So you need to find a trusted individual of moderate age, or maybe your accounting firm if it's a sizable firm and you know there's a transition by. But you don't go to your accounting firm if your accountant is 88 and he has no associates working for him.
You could also have co-trustees too. If you're worried about the parent not spending the money properly, then you could have some checks and balances in place.
Right.
Not a bad idea in some instances.
Which is, again, the reason why everybody needs an estate plan, because whether you are worth millions or a smaller amount of money, at the end of the day, the same problems develop for everybody. They're just on scale. They're not.
Yeah, and $10 million is 10% of somebody who has 100 million. But 10,000 is 10% of someone who has 100,000, and that 10,000 in a lot of ways is more important than the 10 million.
And the number
Because
of people that will
10,000
fight
is
over
paying for
$10,000 is unbelievable.
Well, it's even more than the money. And we'll talk about the property issue that comes up after the break.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Okay, Lisa, we have one last question for you. How old should your grandkids be before they can take the money and spend it on their own?
Thanks, Grandma. Thanks, and I'm getting mine next week.
35. You've worked hard your whole life to create a lasting legacy for your heirs. Let Samasco Law help you make the right decisions to protect the ones you love. Samasco Law, protecting what means most, because that's what we do.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to announce we've opened, THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon Building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. But before we really get into it, I just have to say that was one of the smoothest, most suave exit to a commercial that this show has ever seen.
Good job, Rico.
My compliments.
Thank you, Ken.
It's the training you've been receiving,
It
correct?
is. Years and years of sitting here, absorbing
But
everything that happens.
What property issue were you alluding to?
So the property issue, the problems that arise more often with at least the probate cases that I end up doing are people who don't do estate plans. They don't do wills or trusts. They don't document, and then they don't manage after somebody dies the house, the deed, the property. They don't probate the estate. And so what happens is you end up, one of the kids has been living in the house, the title's still in mom or dad's name, decades go by, somebody else dies or somebody wants to sell it, and nobody has title to the house who can actually do it. So now what happens? Or it's generationally, it was grandpa's house or
So what do
grandma's
you
house.
do in that situation?
You have to probate more than one estate. You have to go open 2, 3, 4 different probate cases, duplicate the effort, that's 2, 3, 4 times the cost, get different letters of authority, and then you have to actually get deeds that transition and transfer the house from one dead person's estate to the other dead person's estate
So
to
the
get
solution
it
there would be...
Probate lawyers love that.
yeah, it makes
Oh
us a
yeah,
lot
they
of
make a
money.
lot of
The
money.
solution is if the property was properly in a trust, it would have never had a problem.
Correct.
Okay. Last year we had a case like that. Was our client was buying a office building, but the seller had forgotten to get a deed on a land contract for 2/5 of the property, and the seller had bought the property from his former partner who was deceased, so it had to go back to the former partner's estate, which had to be opened in order to get the deed because the title company wouldn't insure. And it took the seller's attorney 9 months to finally track down and get to the children of the seller, who initially said they would sign the deed, and then they went to a lawyer, and the lawyer apparently advised them to refuse to sign the deed and try and extort money out of the seller. So then the seller had to file suit had to force the opening of the estate,
Right. I remember
and
that.
then had to file suit in order to get declaratory relief to get a deed to the property.
Yeah.
A lot of expense.
Another one that just happened was nobody had estate plans. Everybody had to go through probate. Uncle passed away with a condo. No heirs except for one person. The one heir was his niece. His niece was elderly and mentally incompetent and needed a guardianship and conservatorship. And there was no heir under the probate law to open the probate. We had to open a guardianship and a conservatorship so that the niece could have a guardian who could then nominate the personal representative to open the uncle's estate. And then the niece died during the process, and we had 4 different probate cases in 2 different jurisdictions going just to transfer
because the niece didn't have
a car and a house.
And the niece wouldn't have had an estate plan either.
No.
Oh God. What were you gonna say?
The other real problem if dad dies and the kids just don't do anything with the house, they don't have valid insurance on that house.
Right.
The insurance policy is a contract between the insurance company and the deceased
owner.
person.
Right.
Once they die, they don't have the ability to contract. If there's a loss, the insurance company's not going to pay.
I'll give you a more
premium, but they'll then deny the payment.
I'll give you the more pragmatic problem. The more pragmatic problem is dad dies, there's a mortgage on the house. There's money that's sitting out there and they want to sell the house, or there's equity in the house. They want to sell the house and they can't until they get the letters of authority.
So they have to either keep making the mortgage payments, otherwise
and it can take, it shouldn't, but it can take 4 or 6 months to get those letters of authority.
Absolutely.
And in the meantime, a mortgage lender, if you go 4 months behind on your house, they can foreclose. Now you're limited to your right of redemption, which can be reduced to as little as 1 month in Michigan if it's not an occupied property. So at the end of the day, by doing a trust, you, not the Mr. I don't have $10 million, Mr. Ordinary Person, do a trust. It allows for the transfer of the asset, which you worked so hard for, to go to your children, and at least allows them to sell the property if they can't afford to maintain it. Because if it's lost to foreclosure and the right of redemption expires, it's gone. And all that hard work that you worked for goes down the toilet.
See, it's a lot more than just convenience. Well, sometimes we talk about the estate plan with the trust avoids probate, which is a good thing and a smart thing to do. But doing nothing, doing the self-help, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, just creating your own deed with joint title right of survivorship, not having anything taken care of, it creates big, significant economic problems down the road, which are easily avoidable by doing a proper estate plan. So that's the reason when I said back to Jim earlier, what about the trust and the will side? We already talked at the beginning about the durable power and the healthcare. That's a different issue. Transitioning your assets, even if they're not the biggest giant mansion, it's still a major issue that you need to address. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.